Every business decision you make, James, is basically like kicking a hornet's nest filled with highly opinionated, slightly litigious bees who all think they own the hive. You just made a profit? Great. Someone's mad about it.
Oh, absolutely. It's not enough to just make money anymore. You gotta make money, but also make sure the money is ethically sourced, fairly distributed, environmentally sound, and, I don't know, maybe performs a small ballet for the local community once a quarter.
And the ballet has to be sustainable, too. Don't even get me started on the carbon footprint of a pirouette. This isn't just about spreadsheets, it's about navigating a human obstacle course blindfolded, while everyone shouts conflicting directions at you.
Exactly. Welcome to stakeholder management, where every good intention is immediately scrutinized by 5 different groups, each with their own completely valid, yet utterly incompatible demands. It's like a corporate version of a family holiday, but instead of arguing about politics, you're arguing about ROI versus biodiversity.
And the stakes are higher. Aunt Carol's political rant isn't going to bankrupt the company or poison a river. Well, usually. Unless Aunt Carol secretly owns a chemical plant and has a very specific agenda.
We're talking about situations where what seems like a slam dunk win for everyone, like, say, expanding your wildly successful manufacturing company because demand is through the roof, which, by the way, is the dream, right? Demand, growth, prosperity.
The American dream, the capitalist fantasy. Build it and they will come and then they will buy and you will get rich and everyone claps.
Right? But then you look closer. Oh, the expansion means new jobs. Huzzah! More business for suppliers. Clap, clap. Investors are doing a little jig. The government's getting fat tax revenues. Customers are swimming in your glorious product.
It's a parade of economic triumph, confetti cannons and everything, until you hit the tiny, unsuspecting speed bump of actual human beings who live near the factory.
The local residents who suddenly realize their quiet, bird-chirping suburban oasis is about to become a 24/7 symphony of forklift beeps and the subtle hum of industrial machinery. You thought you were creating jobs. They think you're creating a permanent migraine.
Their traffic patterns, which previously consisted of a leisurely drive to the organic kale store, are now a Mad Max-esque hellscape of delivery trucks. And construction is just a temporary disruption, they say. Temporary, like a glacier moving across a continent.
And then the environmental groups parachute in, suddenly very concerned about the increased emissions from your perfectly legal, totally standard, absolutely necessary industrial expansion. What were you thinking, expanding without consulting the local squirrel population?
The squirrels have rights, James. They have tiny little squirrel lawyers. And suddenly, your straightforward business decision, your economic triumph, is now a multi-front war with residents, environmentalists, and potentially very aggressive rodents. This is why stakeholder management is crucial. You rarely satisfy everyone. It's like trying to make a pizza that everyone loves. Someone will always complain about the pineapple, or the crust, or the sheer audacity of pizza existing.
Exactly. You're not aiming for universal joy, you're aiming for least amount of public outcry while still making a decent buck. That's the CEO's mantra, I think. Stakeholders, we've defined them before, but it bears repeating, are literally anyone or any group who can either be affected by your business or affect your business. It's a huge umbrella, like a giant corporate-sized umbrella trying to cover a monsoon.
So basically everyone. Everyone is a stakeholder, even that random guy who once bought your product 5 years ago and hated it. He's still got opinions. He could tweet.
He is absolutely a stakeholder, and his one bad experience, amplified by social media, can affect your share price more than a government subpoena. It's wild. Let's start with the obvious big ones. First up, customers. Without customers, you're just a very expensive hobbyist. And what do customers want? Quality, fair prices, excellent service, honest communication, and safe products.
Basic human decency, basically, which apparently for a lot of businesses is a tall order. I mean, we all know that one company we buy from religiously, right? Why? Because they nail these 5 things. They're consistently good. It's like that one friend who always brings the perfect snack to the party. You keep inviting them.
Yeah, and if a company repeatedly disappoints, you dump them. No second chances. Customer trust once lost is like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. You can try, but it's messy, you look ridiculous, and the toothpaste is probably contaminated anyway.
And you end up with minty fingers. Nobody wants minty fingers unless you're a dental hygienist. Next, employees. They're not just workers, James. They're your actual brand ambassadors. They're the ones making the thing, solving the problems, answering the phones, and subtly judging your corporate choice of desktop wallpaper.
They are the beating heart of your operation, the cogs in your beautifully constructed capitalist machine. And what do they want? Fair wages, shocking, I know, safe working conditions, opportunities for growth, respect, job security, effective leadership.
You're asking for the moon, apparently, if you're an employee. It's like, sir, I'd like to not lose a finger today and also maybe earn enough to pay rent. And management's like, whoa there, cowboy, one step at a time. We have a ping pong table, though.
Right? But here's the kicker, Lily. Investing in employees, it's not just the right thing to do, it's a smart business strategy. Satisfied employees give better customer service, stick around longer, and actually contribute to the company's success. It's almost like treating humans well leads to good outcomes for everyone. Who knew?
Mind-blowing. It's like discovering that if you water a plant, it grows. Not just because it's ethical to water plants, but because you want a nice plant. This is revolutionary, James. The idea that happy people make better products? Get out of here. Next, you'll tell me sunlight is good for you.
It's practically a revelation. And this water the plant concept extends to our next group, shareholders and investors. These are the people who give you money, expecting more money back. That's the basic deal. But it's not just about short-term profit anymore.
Oh, they've evolved beyond the simple caveman grunts of more ROI. Now they're sophisticated. They're looking at ESG factors.
Environmental, social, and governance performance. It's like they've finally realized that if the planet is on fire or your company is a den of corruption, their long-term profits might, just might, take a hit. It's not about being a good person, per se. It's about not being a terrible investment because you repeatedly caused ethical failures or environmental disasters.
So basically, they're realizing that being a mustache-twirling villain who pollutes rivers for fun isn't a sustainable business model. It's less about morality and more about, if all the fish die, who's going to buy our fish-shaped crackers?
Exactly. It's the enlightened self-interest of the investor class. They're not wearing Birkenstocks and hugging trees, they're crunching numbers and realizing that a company with good ESG scores often manages risks better and is positioned for, wait for it, long-term success. It's a wild concept.
They're playing the long game, which I respect. It's like a supervillain who realizes destroying the world means there's no one left to rule. You gotta keep some people around for your evil schemes to work.
A supervillain with a 30-year financial plan. My kind of guy. Next up, suppliers. These are the unsung heroes, the people who actually provide the stuff you need to make your stuff. Raw materials, equipment, tech, professional services. Without them, you're just a CEO with a really good idea and no actual way to execute it.
They're not just vendors, James, they're partners. And if you treat them like second-class citizens, consistently delaying payments, haggling over every penny like a Scrooge McDuck impersonator, they're not going to prioritize you. They'll send your stuff to the guy who actually pays on time.
Imagine a supermarket constantly stiffing its cheese supplier. Eventually, that cheese supplier is like, you know what? My Gouda has other commitments, like to people who pay me. You get worse service, less reliable deliveries, maybe even inferior cheese. Nobody wants inferior cheese, Lily.
Inferior cheese is a crime against humanity. But if you build strong relationships, you get priority. You get the good cheese. You get better service, reliability, quality, and even collaboration during tough times. It's a win-win. It's the don't be a jerk strategy, which shockingly works across all these groups.
The don't be a jerk strategy, endorsed by leading business scholars. Write that down. Then there's the government and regulators. Some businesses view them as obstacles, these bureaucratic behemoths designed to slow everything down. But they establish the legal framework. They collect taxes, protect consumers, enforce labor laws, maintain fair competition, protect the environment, ensure public safety.
They're basically the referees of capitalism, blowing the whistle when you try to tackle someone below the belt. And yeah, sometimes the rules feel arbitrary and the penalties sting, but without them, it's just a free-for-all. Imagine a country with no contract enforcement, where counterfeit products run rampant, and safety standards are just a suggestion.
It's chaos, a market where everyone is selling snake oil and you can't trust anything. Consumers lose confidence. Investors flee faster than a gazelle from a cheetah. Legitimate businesses would struggle. Regulations, annoying as they sometimes are, create stability and confidence. They're the guardrails that keep the whole thing from veering off a cliff into the canyon of anarchy.
So they're basically the grown-ups in the room, and sometimes you need grown-ups, even if you're a big, successful business. And finally, the local community. Every business exists within one. They provide your employees, your customers, your infrastructure, your public services. They're literally the ground you stand on.
And what do they expect in return? Positive contributions, employment opportunities, responsible environmental practices, and community engagement. You can't just set up a factory, suck up all their resources, and then give nothing back. That's like moving into a neighborhood, throwing loud parties every night, and never bringing a casserole to the potluck.
Or worse, polluting their casserole. Nobody wants polluted casserole. Imagine that rural area factory again. If it hires local, supports schools, buys local, minimizes its carbon footprint, the community rolls out the red carpet. They throw you a parade, you're a hero.
But if you pollute their stream, ignore their concerns about noise, and contribute nothing to the local bake sale, tensions, quick, and deservedly so, your economic growth becomes their existential nightmare. It's a delicate dance, this stakeholder management. It's rarely about finding a perfect solution.
No, it's about the CEO's perpetual headache. Think about this scenario. You're the CEO of a beverage company. Profits are through the roof. You've got enough cash for one major initiative, just one, and everyone's got their hand out.
Oh, the classic Sophie's choice of capitalism. Okay, so what are the options? Let's list the supplicants.
Shareholders want bigger dividends. Employees want salary increases. Customers want lower prices. Environmental groups demand cleaner production tech. The local community, they want a health clinic.
Okay, so let's break this down. Shareholders first. They're the ones who invested. They took the risk. They want their pound of flesh, or rather their extra dividend. It's their money that got us here after all, right?
Pure, unadulterated capitalist logic. But then your employees, who are the ones actually making the magical beverage, are looking at you with hopeful eyes, dreaming of a salary increase that might actually let them afford rent and groceries this month. They're the ones busting their butts for those profits.
But if we give the employees raises, that cuts into profits, which makes the shareholders angry. And angry shareholders, they sell their stock. The share price plummets. Then everyone's unhappy. See? It's a house of cards, a delicate dividend-fueled house of cards.
Okay, fine. So what about customers? They want lower prices. If we lower prices, we get more customers, more market share. That's long-term growth, James. That's sustainability. Even the shareholders will eventually benefit from that.
But if we lower prices, we cut into our margins. And then there's even less for dividends, even less for employee raises. And what if the environmentalists are right and we're just pouring our delicious beverage into a poisoned river? No one will buy it then, no matter how cheap.
Oh, the environmentalists. Yes, they want cleaner production technology, which honestly sounds like a good thing. Cleaner planet, less guilt, potentially cheaper long-term operational costs if we don't have to pay massive fines for polluting. It's an investment.
An investment that costs a fortune up front, a fortune that could have been dividends, or raises, or lower prices. And what about the local community? They want a health clinic for sick people, with no direct financial return to the beverage company. How do you quantify the ROI on a sneeze guard in a waiting room?
You can't, James. You can't put a price on human well-being. But also, a healthy community means a healthy workforce, which means happy employees who aren't constantly taking sick days, which could lead to better productivity and eventually, yes, more profits. It's all connected, like a big, beautiful, terrifying, interconnected web of corporate responsibility.
It's not a web, Lily. It's a Gordian knot woven by a deranged octopus, and Alexander the Great isn't walking through that door with a sword. Every option benefits one group and disappoints another. This is the essence of it. Leadership isn't about finding perfect solutions. It's about balanced decisions, creating long-term value, and somehow, magically, maintaining trust.
It's like trying to bake a cake for 5 people, but one person's allergic to gluten, one's vegan, one's diabetic, one hates chocolate, and the 5th one only eats savory. You're never going to get a perfect solution. You just try to make a cake that doesn't kill anyone.
And hoping they'll still show up for the next cake. The key to this impossible balancing act is communication, which sounds so simple, right? Just talk to people. But responsible businesses don't make decisions behind closed doors like some shadowy cabal of beverage moguls.
No, they engage. They listen to concerns. They explain decisions. They seek feedback. And if necessary, they adjust their strategies. It's not a monologue. It's a very high-stakes, multi-party dialogue where everyone has an opinion and a potential lawsuit.
And today's stakeholders are more informed than ever. Social media means your customers can instantly share their rage-filled experience with your faulty product. Employees can publicly air their grievances about the passive-aggressive email culture. Communities can organize protests about your pollution in minutes.
It's a digital megaphone, James. Before, if you screwed up, maybe 10 people knew. Now it's 10 million before you've even had your first latte. Investors, they're not just reading quarterly reports, they're monitoring Twitter feeds for signs of corporate malfeasance. Governments respond to public expectations. It's a whole new ballgame where transparency isn't a choice. It's a forced performance art piece.
So, listening isn't just polite. It's a strategic capability. If you're not listening, you're not just being rude, you're actively losing money. You're effectively shouting into the void while your competitors are subtly whispering sweet nothings into the ears of their most influential stakeholders.
It's like being a DJ who only plays the songs he likes, ignoring the entire dance floor screaming for something else. You're going to lose your gig, buddy, and probably get booed off stage. Or, in the corporate world, face a class action lawsuit.
A class action lawsuit filed via TikTok. Now, we've actually seen companies that get this right. Take Blue Skies Ghana. We talked about them before. They don't see farmers as just suppliers. Oh no, not at all.
They're not just some random person selling them mangoes. These farmers are essential partners in creating value. Blue Skies actually works closely with them, invests locally, maintains long-term relationships. It's like they're saying, hey, you know those delicious fruits you grow? We need those, so let's make sure you're doing well so we can both do well.
It's revolutionary, I tell you. Treat the people who grow your core product like actual human beings, and suddenly your supply chain is stronger, your reputation sparkles, and everyone's happy, except maybe the mangoes, who are probably a little sore about being juiced.
The mangoes are silent stakeholders, James. Their voices are unheard. But then you have Casapreco PLC. They understand that environmental initiatives aren't just for tree huggers. Cleaner production, responsible waste management, renewable energy, it all supports the surrounding communities. It protects the environment. It contributes to long-term sustainability.
And the customers, those fickle beasts, they actually appreciate companies that aren't actively trying to set the world on fire. It's almost like they want to buy products from companies that don't make them feel guilty about their consumption choices. Who would have thought?
I know. It's baffling. So what's the common pattern here with Blue Skies and Casapreco? They're not just obsessing over one group. They're juggling all of them. Customers, employees, suppliers, communities, investors, regulators, even the environment itself. That's the essence of it, James. The grand circus act of stakeholder management.
It is a circus act, and the CEO is the ringmaster, trying to keep all the lions, tigers, and corporate bears from eating each other, while simultaneously putting on a dazzling show for the shareholders. It's exhausting just thinking about it.
And yet, some manage it. It's almost like they figured out the cheat code. This leads us to a final thought that feels incredibly profound, given how much we just roasted the whole thing. Many people think leadership is about giving instructions.
And let me tell you, as someone who once tried to lead a flock of sheep, giving instructions only gets you so far. They just stare at you blankly and then eat more grass.
Exactly. But effective leadership, it's often about listening. The best leaders spend an absurd amount of time trying to figure out what everyone actually values. Where are the conflicts? How will today's decision mess up tomorrow's relationships? It's like corporate therapy, but with higher stakes.
It's like a really intense, multi-dimensional chess game where every piece is a person with feelings and an agenda. And the chessboard is also on fire. When businesses consistently consider all these interests, Lily, they build trust. And trust strengthens relationships. Strong relationships support long-term success.
And long-term success benefits both the organization and, dare I say it, society. It's a virtuous cycle, James. A beautiful, trust-fueled, relationship-driven circle of corporate harmony.
I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, it's almost like treating people well and being thoughtful about your impact isn't just a fluffy, feel-good thing. It's actually the key to not having your business spontaneously combust under the weight of public disapproval and shareholder revolt.
So we covered everything, right? We started with the hornet's nest of stakeholder complexity and the factory expansion that annoyed the squirrels.
Oh, the squirrels. Yes, the tiny litigious squirrels. And we went through customers wanting quality, employees wanting not to lose fingers, shareholders suddenly caring about trees, and suppliers who just want to be paid for their artisanal cheese.
The artisanal cheese, crucial. And then the government, bless their bureaucratic hearts, trying to stop us from poisoning the rivers, which I suppose is a good thing for everybody, and communities wanting more than just pollution and loud parties.
And then we had that poor beverage CEO, trapped in the capitalist Sophie's choice, trying to decide between dividends and a health clinic. We had a really intense debate about that, if I recall.
A very intense debate. I still think the health clinic with a beverage-themed waiting room was the way to go. Anyway, then we landed on engagement, listening, social media being a terrifying megaphone, and how Blue Skies Ghana and Casapreco PLC are basically the chosen ones of stakeholder management.
They found the cheat codes, and the big takeaway, leadership is less about barking orders and more about having really good ears. It's about building trust, strong relationships, and not just thinking about tomorrow's profit, but next decade's planet.
Exactly, because apparently blowing up the world is bad for long-term ROI. Who knew? Okay, that brings us to the end. Share this with anyone who's ever tried to please everyone and failed spectacularly.